All the games happened on Sunday, March 13th. The first game is the Brooklyn Nets beat the New York Knicks 110-107. KD absolutely went off, had 53 points without Kyrie, of course. While RJ continues to struggle with his shot. 8 for 21, the volume is there. 7 for 8 from the free throw line is okay, 3 steals. Again, the counting stats is there, but the efficiency is always a concern. Julius Randle plays well. Again, 26 points with okay efficiency, with 3 threes and 4 assists and a steal. He's been okay, honestly, lately. Has fallen off in the last month or two. But in the last 2 weeks, Randle, 43rd ranked player, so not bad at all, to be honest. Mitchell Robinson played just 22 minutes, had 4 fouls, but had 4 blocks. He had 1 block on KD, which is pretty crazy. KD just pulls up, Mitchell Robinson just blocks straight up. He's gonna be he's been playing really well, and with Nolan Noel out, he's been getting good minutes, playing really well. Not much else to say. At Evan Fournier, this is why we roster him, 25 points with 5 threes. The next game, he could have 10 points and 2 threes and nothing else. But he'll have games like this. He's very inconsistent, but occasionally he'll have good games. And now that all the New York Knicks guard are either hurt or out for season. I mean, 2 of them are hurt, so he needs to be picked up. Alec Burks, as I said many times, also need to be picked up and rostered. Emmanuel Quickly, not so much. He could be a streamer if New York Knicks got a good schedule. Otherwise, you can't really trust him to play consistent minutes and give you consistent production either. For the Brooklyn Nets, KD, not much to talk about. Since he's been back, he's just been amazing. Bruce Brown also needs to be rostered, play 41 minutes. He's a really good defender, can get a bunch of defensive stats. Good field goal guy for a little guard, and can grab you some rebounds, some assists. He did exactly that. He's been playing really, really well in the last couple of weeks. Andre Drummond played 27 minutes, 8 for 8. That's great. A double-double. LaMarcus Aldridge is still nowhere close. So him and Nicholas Claxton kind of splitting the minutes. Both could be streamed. It depends on the Nets schedule. I don't think the Nets got a particularly good schedule in the next couple of weeks. In the playoffs, the Brooklyn Nets, 3 games. They have a back-to-back Tuesday and Wednesday. And then next week is potentially maybe you could look at somebody to stream, because that's when they have 4 games. Patty Mills, Seth Curry was out. Patty Mills come in and played 31 minutes. But yeah, ever since Seth Curry came to the Nets, Patty Mills didn't really have any usage. And as we've seen here, whenever they play at home, we could also stream Goran Dragic, because he's going to play huge minutes without Kyrie. Played 38, did a bit everything, 6 assists, 2 steals and a block with 1 3. So a bunch of guys we could potentially to stream next week. And they have a back-to-back coming up this week too, so you could stream some of these guys and drop them after their game on Wednesday. Let's look at the next game. The LA Clippers beat the Detroit Pistons 106-102. Batum had 2 points, just nothing else. Don't really have much value unless they got a good schedule. You could stream him for some defensive stats. Marcus Morris, they only have, I think they have only 3 games this week, and next week they only have 2 games. So if you make it to next week in the playoffs, a lot of these guys, you got to think about dropping them, right? The LA Clippers. They have a game on next Tuesday and a game on next Friday, so it's not good. Like Marcus Morris Sr., all these guys could be dropped. Zubac, another huge game, my God. 15 rebounds, 14 points, and still in a block. Yes, if you need rebound and field goal, he's a must roster. Amir Coffey, come in, play 35 minutes. Sure, you could maybe stream him for a few games, but they don't have a good schedule. I think there's just going to be a better options out there. Isaiah Hardenstein, if you have him, you could drop him. They don't have a good schedule. Luke Kennard hit 4 threes. That's great. They have another game on Monday, so you could hold on to him and then drop these guys afterwards. And I don't think we want to hold on to Robert Covington any longer. He's still out. We don't know how long he's going to be, when he's going to be back. Personal reasons, he could be out. I don't know. Kyle Lowry missed how many games due to personal reasons. So let's just drop him. And they only have 2 games next week anyways. So when he does come back, he just played 2 games. For the Detroit Pistons, Sadiq Bey continues to miss shots. Hit 2 threes, 8 rebounds, 2 steals, 13 points. Not the best game from him. Jeremy Grant, 21 points and a block. Sure, like these guys, we gotta, these 2 guys could be rostered. Um, as long as their schedule is not too bad. I think they got this week. It's interesting. Tuesday is a really low volume day, and Thursday is a really low volume day. And Detroit Pistons playing both those. Thursday, there's only one game in the NBA. It's the Magic versus the Pistons. So if you got some of these guys, you probably have more than 10 players on Wednesday and Fridays. So if you got a Piston guy, you gotta continue write them, and stream them, of course. And Marvin Bagley needs to be picked up. You need some points and rebounds. We don't know when Isaiah Stewart is. He said reevaluating in a week, so out minimum a week. So Marvin Bagley in the meantime could be rostered. Corey Joseph had 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal. Sure, Thursday's game you could stream him too. You could stream. Saban Lee and Kelly Olynyk, these guys not really getting huge minutes yet. Isaiah Livers had 27 minutes, but don't really trust him to get huge minutes next game. Kate Cunningham is really the story. He absolutely went off here. Almost a triple-double with 2 blocks. Good efficiency and played 44 minutes. Yeah, with some injuries going on, they're just giving him huge minutes now. Let's look at the next game. The Dallas Mavericks beat the Celtics at Celtics. That's pretty impressive. Celtics were a 6-point favorite going into the game. Luka, again, he left the game for a little bit. He still played 39 minutes, though. It didn't really matter. Had some hamstring issues, so maybe he could miss some back-to-back games. But this is a good game for him. Played really well. Got some defensive stats for threes. Jalen Brunson, he's back. He could be also, if he's out there on the waiver wire, you could roster him, give you some points and threes and assists. But as long as Luka is healthy, and now that we have Spencer Dinwiddie coming here, he's really losing a ton of usage. Spencer Dinwiddie, another decent game, hit 3 threes, 5 for 9 from the free throw line is no good. But if you need points and threes and some assists, he's kind of like Kobe White type of player in fantasy. Dorian Finney-Smith, again, beautiful game. Hit 4 threes, really good efficiency, 19 points, 2 steals and block. Since he got his contract, and obviously with Porzingis out, he's been playing really, really well. So he needs to be rostered. Dwight Powell, not so much, just 22 minutes. And Maxi Kleber did grab 13 rebounds and 3 blocks. Both are very impressive, but went 0 for 2. He could be streamed if you need threes and blocks. Let's look at the Celtics. Jason Tatum struggled pretty massively. The Dallas Mavericks, I guess, is a pretty decent defensive team. 7 for 23 for Jason Tatum. And Horford went off. My God, what a beast this man is. 5 steals and 2 blocks. There was a period of time he wasn't doing anything, playing 20 to 25 minutes, and lately he's been insane. 5 steals and 2 blocks as a big man. It's almost Robert Williams. There's something Robert Williams would do, right? Al Horford, 19th ranked playing the last 2 weeks, absolutely insane. A must roster player. Robert Williams didn't really do much though. Had no defensive stats, so he'd be better than this fantasy wise. And Jaylen Brown continues to struggle from the field, 14 points, and Marcus Smart did a bit everything. But Jaylen Brown has not been impressive all season. Like in the beginning of the season, he was putting up great numbers, dropping 40 points every other game, while Jason Tatum was struggling, but then he got hurt. Since coming back, he has not been the same. He's not even ranked in the last 2 weeks inside that top 210, 200. Derek White, we got to think about dropping this guy, yeah. The Celtics don't. I looked, they only have 3 games this week, so they don't have a game till Wednesday, so I totally fine if you drop him, in my opinion. Let's look at the next game. The Philadelphia Sixers overtime. Man, this was tough. Beat the Orlando Magic. Harden, the past 2 games has been really bad. Well, Joel Embiid also struggled this game versus the Orlando Magic defense. They have a back-to-back, so I do expect Harden, maybe Joel Embiid, one of them to rest. Let's wait and see what happens. James Harden, 26 points, 3 steals. It looks okay, only 6 assists, but 13 for 15 from the free throw line is pretty huge, but 5 for 19 is obviously not great. And Joel Embiid went to the line 17 times, huge line, although he went 9 for 28 from the field, 16 rebounds, 7 assists, a steal and 2 blocks. Overall, still a monster game from Joel Embiid. And let's see if he plays on Monday, or Harden plays on Monday. Tyrese Maxey, if one of these guys are out, he's going to put up some great numbers. Didn't play the best, had 5 fouls and 10 points. Tobias Harris had a great game, 26 points, 9 rebounds, 2. And Matisse Thybulle committed 5 fouls in 18 minutes. if you're not punting points and threes and rebound and assist, like I think you gotta punt at least two of those four categories to think about have Matisse Thybulle. Otherwise, if you because he's giving you nothing else in those two categories, so you really gotta think about sure, he's giving you a great number of defensive stats, but at the same time, if you're not punting those four counting categories, I think he's hurting you more than he's helping you, right? Steals and blocks are high variance at the end of the day. So if that week he's not averaging 3 steals and 2 blocks, if he's just averaging 1 steal or 1.5 steals, it's not that big of a difference. So, but Sixers got a 4-game week, I believe, so you can't continue to ride it out. And Georges Niang went off 16 points, but I don't think it's gonna happen all that often. And let's look at the Orlando Magic. Franz Wagner, I think he's close to a drop in the playoff. In the playoffs for sure. 2 steals and 6 points. Like with all the guys back, he just doesn't have the usage he used to have, right? They have Jalen Suggs now. They have Markelle Fultz even coming off the bench, right? Wendell Carter Jr. has been balling, a big double with 3 blocks and two threes. So with all those factors going on, Wagner is not going to have great usage. So, and he doesn't provide that much stats outside of the scoring and threes. So think about you can move on from him. Mo Bamba, minutes is great. Have 5 fouls, a steal, and 2 blocks. Sure, I mean last week there was a period of time where Okiki was getting huge minutes. Now Mamba is getting them, so no worries. Continue to ride it out. Cole Anthony, 19 points. Another guy, along with Franz Wagner, these 2 guys used to have huge usage. This game he only took 12 shots. Jalen Suggs took 13. So Jalen Suggs also needs to be rostered, especially if he punting field goal. All right, let's look at the next game. The Indiana Pacers lost to the Atlanta Hawks, 128-131, very high scoring game. And would you look at that? Against the Atlanta Hawks team, Isaiah Jackson, 6 offensive rebounds. He had 4 personal fouls. I do believe if he's not in foul trouble, he could be playing 30 games a lot of the times. He's just in foul trouble 90% of the time, 90% of the games, which is why he's getting those defensive stats. Had 15 rebounds. So I think he needs to be rostered, although they don't have a good schedule. O'Shea Brissett, some borderline value. I don't think you have to roster him given that they have only 3 games this week. But he does provide a bit of everything and some defensive stats. Terry Taylor started. Another guy that we know, given the minutes, he can put up great numbers. If he continued to start with Brogdon out, we could also think about him. Jalen Smith, another guy. Again, put up great numbers. 2 steals and 2 blocks, 10 points in 27 minutes. Miles Turner, is he going to be back? I think there's a possibility he comes back, but what's the point of bringing him back, right? This team is obviously tanking, and I don't know. So if they do bring him back, obviously Isaiah Jackson is going to lose the starting job, I think. And then you have Jalen Smith, O'Shea Brissett. What's going to happen with all these guys? Buddy Hield and Tyrese Halliburton, no worries. Even with Brogdon coming back and playing, these 2 guys are going to play huge minutes. And with Brogdon out, Tyrese is going to have a huge finish. 25 points, 10 assists, and a steal. Great efficiency across the board. While Buddy Hield only hit 2 threes, but 25 points. Buddy Hield has been insane. Since getting traded the last 2 weeks. Where's Buddy? Well, just the 81st ranked player. Played 7 games, 18 points. Yeah, I think he's making only 2.7 threes in the last 2 weeks. So his road, he's not jacking up as many threes as he used to be on the Kings, but he's averaging 6.3 assists. That really stands out. That's really boosting his value. And I think he should be a top 50, 60 player rest of the way. And we look at the Atlanta Hawks. Clint Capella had 5 fouls, but great, those 5 fouls gave him 3 steals and a block, 10 points. That's fine. And with him in foul trouble, Okongwu played 25 minutes and also put up a great line. 13 and 19 with 1 block. 1 for 3 from the free throw line is not ideal, but Okongwu can give you really decent block numbers. And had 7 offensive rebounds. But I don't know how much we can really trust his minutes though. Bogdanovic played 31 minutes, had an okay game. He needs to be rostered, as I said many times. Kevin Huerter is back after out for a little while. Him and DeAndre Hunter These two guys they're not must rosters, but they could definitely be streamed meaningful points and threes. While Trae had 47 points, my God. When the man shoots 20 times, he had 47 points, 14 for 14. He's only going to give you 5 assists, so no worries there. And brought in 2 steals. I mean, a lot of the Atlanta Hawks guys was able to get 2 or 3 steals. Clint Capella, Kevin Huerter. This game against a fairly young Indiana Pacers team. All right, the next game, the Rockets get blown out by the Pelicans without CJ, without their 2 best players, Brandon Ingram too. For the Rockets, sure, with Christian Wood back, predictably, Emperor Şengün only played 15. Well, he had 6 fouls, but if it wasn't for the fouls, we know he's only going to get around 20 minutes anyways. So if you were streaming Emperor Şengün, I think we got to let him go. Already like his efficiency was an issue. So if he doesn't get the minutes, we can't really justify holding on to him. While Christian Wood had 12 rebounds and 8 points. Pretty bad. Kevin Porter Jr. pretty bad. The assist numbers were gone, and a bad efficient night from him with 5 turnovers. My God. Jalen Green, we still can roster him. Points and threes still pretty solid. And Jason Tate, I don't think we have to roster him, right? He give you a little bit everything, mainly field goal, but nothing else really stands out, to be honest. A little bit rebound, a little bit defensive stats. And the Rockets, they don't have 3 games this week, so something to think about. And Garrison Matthews got the start in place of Eric Gordon, hit 1 3 and nothing else. So that's a little bit disappointing. And then some of the bench guys, because it was a blowout, so they got an extra few minutes. Josh Christopher, Kenyon Martin Jr., but Jason Tate was in foul trouble, so I don't think we can hold on to Kenyon Martin Jr. for much longer, because next game Tate could be playing 30 minutes and he will only get like 18 minutes. For the New Orleans Pelicans in the short term, a couple of guys need to be rostered, a must roster, I think. Devontae Graham, all the guards were out. He needs to be rostered, and Jose Alvarado. He played 30 minutes. That's interesting. He had 6 steals and 10 assists. So him and Devontae Graham, I think both guys could be streamed, right? CJ and Brandon Ingram are out, so they really need some guards play. And it depends on who plays well. He's going to get over 30 minutes. So both guys, we got to take a look at both guys. Meanwhile, Jackson Hayes, I think it was rough for him for a little while last week. And now that with everybody out, I could see him getting some huge minutes and put up some great numbers. Had 2 steals and a block, 21 points. Pretty good game. While Valanciunas absolutely went off. We can't expect Valanciunas to put up big numbers with those 2 guys out. 32 points and 10 rebounds. And Herbert Jones, obviously, a must roster as well. And R.J. Marshall, interesting. Played a pretty good game. 17 and 10. We could also potentially to look at him, to stream him, as long as Brandon Ingram is out, because he's going to get 30 plus minutes. Anytime any guy gets plus 30 minutes, unless you're Tony Snell, we got to think about streaming some of these guys. And then the next game, the Grizzlies beat Oklahoma City Thunder just by 7 points. And look at our friend Dillon Brooks is back. If he's out down the waiver wire, I don't mind rostering him. He's going to give you good points and threes and some defensive numbers. He only played 25 minutes this game, had 4 personal fouls. Otherwise, I do expect him to play a bit more minutes. Jerry Jackson Jr. had a block, 6 for 6 from the free throw line. It's great. 18 points, an okay game from him. Steven Adams grabbed you 16 rebound. That's huge rebounder. Desmond Bane. Interesting to see, how much Desmond Bane is going to lose when Dillon Brooks comes back. He still took 15 shots. So I don't think it's going to impact him that much. Maybe lose one shot a game. It's not going to impact him that much. Maybe he can focus on the defensive end more and get more defensive stat. So with Dillon Brooks back, Anthony Melton was only getting 20 minutes. Now some nights he'll be only getting 14. So that's kind of sad. I think we could let him go. And Brandon Clark would be a good streaming option. 12 and 10 with a steal and a block. And JJJ has been getting into foul trouble a lot. If JJJ played 35 minutes, I don't expect Brandon Clark to get this many minutes. But he could come in and get 20 to 25 every night, pretty much, depending on the matchups. Let's look at the Oklahoma City Thunder side, another team that's have a lot of usage to grab by the end of the season. And it's a miracle that Shea is still playing. So, but I think if Shea gets injured, he's just going to be out for the season, right? But he's just putting up great numbers: 2 steals and 3 blocks, 7 assists, 6 rebounds. And this game, 12 for 12 on the free throw line is absolutely huge. 31 points. And we don't know when Josh Giddey is going to be back. And honestly, there's a chance he just gets. Once we get to last week of the season, right, there's no point bringing him back. So I think we got to think about roster Trae Young, who did not have the best game, but we want to have him. Darius Bazley absolutely went off. Sure, we got to have him. Isaiah Roby played just 16 minutes. I think I want to give this guy a chance one more game. He was playing very well before he got hurt. So he only got 60 minutes because Lindy Waters was playing well. So they gave some of the Pokusevski. So it depends on who, he was a minus 11 in those 60 minutes. Maybe don't like the matchup. So let's just hold on to him for one more game. I think they have another game on Monday or whenever their next game is. Just give him another, and then because he could realistically be a very good, could provide you multiple categories. But again, playoffs, if you don't need what he brings, if you don't need the defensive stats, you need some efficiency. Isaiah Roby is not the guy, so you could drop him and let him go. It depends on your matchup and your playoff opponent to see if Isaiah Roby makes sense at all, right? And this game, Darius Bazley got a few extra minutes because he was just absolutely going off, 11 for 19. Don't expect this to continue, but he needs to be picked up obviously as well. Pokusevski only 20 minutes, so the minutes is really. I think it should be Darius Bazley, Isaiah Roby, and Pokusevski in that order. If you and Trae Young and Pokusevski, yeah, these two guys. Trae Young's been getting, as long as Josh Giddey is out, he should be getting 30 plus minutes. So I like him more over Pokusevski because the minutes is not there consistently. All right, let's go to the last game of the night. Yeah, I think the Suns will score 49 points in the first quarter, something like that. They were up 25 plus points. LeBron James started at the center, and of course LeBron got 31 points. I think LeBron he's gonna try to break all the records. So if he wants to play and put up numbers, so that's great. 31 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. But it's gonna be a pain, if you have LeBron, you gotta swap him in and out of the lineup. But whenever he plays, what a game, you just have to deal with that. Malik Monk also need to be rostered. The Lakers got 4 games this week. He's been playing really, really well, getting a lot of defensive stats, hit a lot of threes, so let's go grab him. Russell Westbrook. Yeah, you could seriously think about dropping Russell Westbrook. I think if you don't need the assist, it's perfectly fine. Lately, he has, even the assists, he's not really putting up anything. And bad efficiency pretty much every game. He did have one game against the Rockets the other night, but many nights against a good defensive team, this is what he put up. Austin Reeves played okay, but this week Malik Monk obviously need to be rostered. We could stream Taylor Horton-Tucker and Carmelo Anthony because they got 4 games. And if you don't need the assist, think about dropping Russell Westbrook because he's really hurting you in so many categories. And if you don't need the assist, what is he really giving you? For the Suns, Devin Booker, what a game! Hit 4 threes, 30 points. I think he had 20 points by the first half or something like that. Hit 3 threes in the first quarter, had 4 steals, 10 assists. What a beast. And Cameron Payne is a must roster. In 24 minutes, he dished out 11 assists. He's going to help you win assist category on his own, really. It's like CP3. He doesn't get the steal CP3, and he doesn't provide the efficiency. But the assist numbers, man, 24 minutes, 11 assists, that is super, super impressive. Same with Devin Booker too. A lot of assists. DeAndre Ayton, 23 and 16, good numbers. Good efficiency. This is what we want to see, with CP3 out. DeAndre Ayton need to get the ball a little bit more and put up. These are great numbers, but the thing with him is just no defensive stats. He's averaging less than a block a game, which is, you're not going to take a guy in the top, in the third or fourth round. If he's just going to give you very mediocre points and some rebound and a little bit field goal, you'd rather take to be honest, a guy like a Pirtle if you need a big man. Obviously, you got to think about your strategy in category leagues. Jay Crowder, sure, we got to roster him, 2 steals and 2 blocks, really good stuff. And Mikal Bridges, 18 points, not the best game. And that's it for all the games, guys. I'll see you next time.